Hey, welcome everyone. So now we're going to create the zombie spawn map image. And let's start by asking the question, what is a zombie spawn map image? In essence, the zombie spawn map image is going to be a black and white image. The white is going to be the most important. Let's go ahead and just look at this vegetation layer and pretend like this is our zombie spawn. Any place where you see black, no zombies will spawn. And this is going to be the exception to the rule. I want to use my airbrush tool because anywhere in this image where you see white, that's going to be where zombies will spawn. So if I go to my vegetation layer and I paint white like this, and if I hold this button here, and then over here, I'm going to go ahead and select my pencil to make the brightest white. Less zombies will appear here. The most zombies will appear here because this is the actual color white, and these are shades of gray that will effectively build up to white. So here, not many zombies. Here, more zombies, more zombies, more zombies, 0 zombies. So you can use this in order to tell the game where you want zombies to spawn. So how do we do that? I'm going to create a new layer group, move it to the very top, and I'm going to call this, it doesn't matter what you call it, I'm going to call it zombie spawn, because this is going to be my zombie spawn layer. Inside of this zombie spawn folder, I'm going to create a file, which is called ZSpawn. That's just zombie spawn shortened. It doesn't matter what you call it. I'm actually going to call one ZSpawn base. Let me go ahead and move this out so you can kind of see that full name there. I'm going to select this folder and create a file, and I'm going to call then another one ZSpawn by itself. The base layer, again, just like with the vegetation layer, must be black. So I'm going to grab my fill tool. I'm going to make sure that black is selected. You can always click these buttons down here, this mini black and white, to reset those colors. Ensuring that the base layer is selected, I'm going to paint this black. I'm going to hit Control Save to ensure that these changes are saved. And now, when I click the ZSpawn layer, if I unsee the black, I can now see my actual map. If I change my tool from the pencil to like an airbrush and ensure that it paints white, any place that I brush paint, that's where zombies will spawn. This is important because if I make all my spawns here, basically no zombies will appear because this is the water. Zombies don't appear in the water. If I do this kind of business, the zombies will start appearing on your roads, and that'll make your map hard to drive through because people will be bumping into zombies all the time. If you do, something else, for example, if you start drawing on the edges of your road or inside of your forest, etc., and if you want to recall, where are my forests? Again, we can just turn on the dense layer forest. So you could be like, oh, there's forests here. Let's just make this really dense with zombies. So you can effectively now look at your map and see in context of where you want to put buildings, where your forests are, where things are, where you go ahead and paint your zombies. Now the paintbrush, this brush tool allows me to create a areas where there is low concentration of zombies, a thicker concentration of zombies, and then the thickest concentration of zombies. You can switch over to the pencil tool to be like, zombies for sure. Notice how this square is bouncing around. That's because the jitter got left on. So just be aware if your brush is behaving weirdly, just double check that the jitter might be on. But yeah, this is basically what you can do in order to create a zombie spawn, as it's called. I believe the devs call it for the Build 42, the heat map. The hotter that a thing is, right, the wider that it is, the more that zombies will spawn. So this is effectively what you can do. Now, how do you put this into the game? Or rather, how do you communicate to the game that this image is going to be here? The image needs to be reduced down or scaled down to 1/10 of its size. And it needs to have a black background. So this is my heat map, right? This is my zombie spawn map for Project Zomboid. So I'm going to hit Control-Shift-E. This is my stripes build, PNG, but this is going to be our zombie spawn. So I like calling these Z-Spawn. And I'm going to save this inside of my images folder because this is an image. Now, I exported it as it was, but this is wrong. This is not actually what we want to save because, as I mentioned earlier, this image actually needs to be 1/10 of its size. So I'm going to go to Scale Image. Right now it's 300 by 300. In order to make it 10% of its size, I simply remove a 0. So I'm going to make it 30 by 30 pixels. I'm going to hit Scale, and this image is going to be small, tiny. This is what I want to export. Now, don't save this, because if you ever want to go back to any of these other layers, right, if you scale it, it's going to be effectively really hard or really impossible to work with. So this is only specific to the Z spawn, the zombie spawn image. I'm going to replace it because this is the 300 by 300. I need it to be 30 by 30. I'm going to hit Control Z now that it's been saved. That way it goes back to being 300 by 300 image, and that's what I'm going to save. That way anytime that I open it, I can come back and make any changes to the actual sized image that I want. So how do we put this zombie spawn inside of the world editor? We want to go to File, and we want to go to Generate Lots. Now, we are not ready to generate lots, but to get ahead of the curve, this zombie spawn map image, we're going to go ahead and go into Stripesville, Images, and that's where we go, this Stripesville Z spawn, right? I'm going to hit Open, and that's going to be saved here. We're going to worry about this later, in which case we can just hit Apply, and then we can just not work. Oh, I guess not. We do need the lot files and everything else. Ha 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 ha. So let's go ahead and get that taken care of. Lot files are similar to TMX files, except these lot files are we're going to end up getting uploaded to our Steam when we upload this map. So I personally like creating a folder for these lots files. It does not matter what you call this. So I just like calling it lots, and that's going to be select folder because, again, the easier that it is, the naming conventions to follow, the easier that the naming conventions of your folders are to follow, then the more organized and the easier it'll be to find. This is going to be the folder containing new tile definitions.tiles, or rather your tiles folder. This is, again, why this usually all lives inside of the world editor, because this is if you go to Project Zomboid tools, this is going to be a specific folder inside of the tiles. This is going to be just this tiles folder right here. Not 2x or anything inside it, just this tiles folder specifically. Hit select, and then that's going to basically use any of the tiles there. For example, if you have extra tile mods that you dragged into your 2x or all that, extra tile sets, that's how it's going to know to use them. This here is the world origin. This affects the name of the generated files, as I mentioned. This is how you can change the X and Y of where your cell is. The default is 0, 0, which means that in the vanilla map, let me go ahead and take a screenshot here for illustration purposes. In the vanilla map, 0, 0 will be the cell that's over here. Now, if you recall correctly, right, there's like a river here or whatever, and then Louisville is over here. You have West Point somewhere around here. I think whatever, Riverside or whatever it is, Rosewood is down here, March, etc., and Muldraugh is here. So 0, 0 as a cell effectively has nothing to do with the vanilla map. Now, can you make a map mod that is up here and is this large or this large and connects over the bridge? Yes. But if you plan to stick your map, let's say like somewhere in the middle, you want to find out what cell that is, and then you want to go ahead and set the X and Y coordinates to that cell. So just be aware that that's how all of this works, and that's how you would pick this. Now, for the sake of simplicity, I'm going to leave it 0, 0, and we'll deal with sticking this into vanilla in another video. All right, cool. Well, with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and Control Save. That means that we've created our zombie map spawn, and now in the future, when we're ready to go ahead and create lots and move things over to Steam to get them uploaded, which will be in a way later video, that's going to be all set up and good, and our spawn model will be ready. as we change our map, if we want to update our spawn heat map, we can absolutely do so. All right. Well, with that, let's go ahead and move forward to the next step in the next video, which is effectively going to be creating and adding custom buildings. All right. Talk to you all later. See you in the next one. Bye-bye.